Okay, so this is going to be a very different video. Now we here in TechWiser have used many tablets and many laptops. And what I realized is tablets and laptops have quite a few things in common. You get a bigger display, you also get keyboard attachment, even the apps are closer to a laptop. Like, take this iPad for instance, you can run Photoshop, FCP and even DaVinci Resolve, which is a laptop software on a freaking tablet. Not just that, this even has a processor similar to the MacBook, which is a laptop. So rather than doing a normal video, I replaced my Windows laptop with the latest iPad Pro M2 and this magic keyboard and everything for 7 days, and oh boy, this was something crazy. Like, this will also help you understand, can you use an iPad as a laptop like every single day? I have so much to talk about on this. It's gonna be an interesting video. Stick around till the end. Let's go. Now, before we proceed, I must mention that I switched from a Windows machine to an iPad. However, most of what I found is legit for any laptop or tablet, and as legit as the sponsor of this video, Surfshark VPN. And fair thing, we have been personally using Surfshark before they even approached us for this video. Now, you're obviously being tracked anywhere that you browse or watch on the internet, so getting a paid VPN makes sense, and importantly for two reasons. Number one, Surfshark VPN works on all websites seamlessly with good privacy, and you can even unlock content from other parts of the world that are not available in India. Here's a good video for that. Number two, Surfshark VPN not only starts as low as 180 rupees per month, but you get unlimited device access, so you can share it with your friends and family. Now, Surfshark VPN partnered with us, and for Team TW, you can get an exclusive Surfshark Black Friday deal. Enter promo code TechWiser for an extra 6 months free at surfshark.deals/TechWiser. And there is also a 30 days money back guarantee, so there's no harm in trying. Now, firstly, setting up the iPad is pretty simple. You'll have to create an Apple ID, which in my case, I had. So all my iCloud photos, contacts showed up on the iPad, and if you have an iPhone, you can just bring the iPhone close to the iPad and it will just replicate your entire iPhone, all apps to the iPad. But here's the cool thing, we also bought this official Apple Magic Keyboard, and this has a Type-C port and it can now charge the iPad. And it also supports all the shortcuts. Like, say you do Alt-Tab, it goes to the app switcher, which is similar to Windows. If you do Command T, it opens a new tab, and if you do Command W, it closes the tab in the browser. So all this keyboard and shortcuts, I wasn't expecting it to be this good. Now, it's day one, and the very first thing that I noticed is watching movies on the iPad is so good. Like, two reasons why. Number one is the display. It is like a huge upgrade for me. This is a Liquid Retina XDR display. In simple words, it's an LCD display, but it can go a peak brightness of 1600 nits. Laptop in this price range either give a good processor or good display. You never get both. So, for example, take my Asus laptop that I was using. It has an i7 processor, costs around 60,000 rupees, but see, side by side with the iPad's display quality is far better. And number two is the sound quality. Like, let me show you. And the same song, just here on the laptop. See, it is pretty evident that the iPad has much better sound. Now, I won't get too much into complex details like what and all of that, but the iPad here has 4 speakers, 2 on the left and 2 on the right. Most Windows laptop, like this Asus one, has 2 tiny speakers, and that too at the bottom. So the air is blocked and the sound is muffled. I don't know what's the thing with Windows laptop, like 90% of them have very bad speakers. Like, why? So, of course, watching movies and videos was so much fun on the iPad. Also, since iPad is just a single screen, it is sleek, it is portable to carry around. Like, see, you can do this on an iPad, but if you do this with a laptop, this is what happens. Now, by the third day, I'm using the iPad to the fullest, and surprisingly, almost all the apps that I use on Windows laptop, you even get those on the iPad, like Microsoft Word, Excel, Slack, Photoshop, everything. See, I can write my scripts on Google Doc. Stay tuned for that video. And iPad has like a full-blown Photoshop, not Photoshop Express, and you also get 1 month free trial, so I'm using that. See, I can make thumbnails on Photoshop, and you have all these layers, like I can remove the background, I can select a tool, I can have text as well. So, you get it? It's proper Photoshop. And now, since this is an iPad, obviously, there are some cool Apple exclusive apps. Like, I love to draw. So there is this app called Procreate on iOS, which is very good at sketching. But I use this app called Sketchbook. It is free and it is actually very good at sketching. In case you haven't subscribed yet. Now, you would need an Apple Pencil for this, which costs 11,900 rupees. Come on, Apple. You need this if you have to do any serious drawing on the iPad. Now, here's the best part. On Windows, I was using Premiere for video editing, and you have an iPad version which is called Premiere Rush, but that's not great. Now, Apple recently launched FCP for iPad, which is like their MacBook Pro level editing tool. Like we edit our TechWiser videos on FCP. So I wanted to try FCP on the iPad. Luckily, with this M2 iPad, you can use FCP. So see, I can import my files here. You get the timeline. Basically, this is a full-fledged video editing on a handheld device. And not just that, the web browser Safari on the iPad even supports extension like it does on a MacBook. Plus, you get some really cool ecosystem features with the iPad. Like I can use the iPad as a secondary display for a MacBook. So see, I can now mirror my screen on the iPad, and if I draw something on Photoshop with the Apple Pencil on the iPad, it appears on the main screen on the MacBook. Much better than using a mouse or a trackpad to draw on the MacBook. And this one's really cool. You can use the MacBook's trackpad and keyboard on your iPad. You can even drag and drop files from the MacBook to the iPad. And if you see it in person, it looks magical, man. Now, so far, this was the best experience I had on a tablet, and it was great. But now, by day 5, I started to realize everything is not perfect with the iPad. I'll give you a few examples. Number one, while all the laptop apps exist here, they are cut down versions of the main app. You don't get all the features and all. See, here is Photoshop on a laptop, and this is Photoshop on the iPad. You don't get this filter gallery, text effects are different, or just see FCP on MacBook versus FCP on iPad. The iPad FCP is choppy, you don't get all plugins, so it's a cut down experience. Number two, few things are just better on a laptop or a Windows laptop. Take multitasking for instance. On a laptop, you can have multiple apps open. See, I have Chrome, Slack, Word, Notepad, and you can even stack them up very easily. Good if you're working and watching videos at the same time. It's like a multitasking genius. And same if you do on the iPad. See, at max, you can have 2 apps in a split screen. And if I open the third one, see the previous one closes. Or even if you use this brand new feature from Apple called Stage Manager, this allows 4 apps at a time, but you cannot resize them freely. And number 3, social media apps are not optimized for the iPad like yet. See, if I open Instagram on the iPad, it opens in this format. Like, what is this? Why is there so much black space on the left and the right? Again, see, Facebook on the iPad, I can scroll if I do this here, but if I do it on the other side, it doesn't scroll. So all the phone apps meant for the iPad are still not optimized for the iPad. Now it's the final day, and I noticed one thing, like typing on the iPad is not so simple. Firstly, and here's something weirdly funny. So you get split keyboard on smaller iPads, but the bigger ones like this one here just don't support split keyboard. Like, what the hell happened? So typing in landscape mode is very hard. And second, split key or no split key, let me demonstrate something. So this website tests typing speed. I'll do the speed test on the laptop as well as the tablet. See, I'm much faster and better on the laptop because obviously you have a physical keyboard here, and just typing digitally on a tablet doesn't make sense. Now yes, you can buy an external keyboard and mouse. You can get even cheaper Bluetooth keyboards like under 1000, or even expensive one like this. There's a folio cum keyboard cum trackpad case we got for 30,000 rupees. Yeah, it's an overkill. But it is still an additional accessory. The point being, it adds to the cost. You'll have to carry around those external mouse and keyboard everywhere. And finally, laptops have more connectivity than any tablet. You get HDMI, USB, headphone jack and everything. On the iPad, all you get is a Type-C port. So if you are charging, you cannot connect anything to it. You will have to visit Dongle City. And finally, what bothers me the most is there is no headphone jack. And this is not just with the iPad. Other tablets are also removing the headphone jack. Like, come on. How hard do you want to sell TWS to people? So yeah, that was the video, and I must say this was a very fun experiment for me. So what's the takeaway? Can I replace my laptop with this iPad? Well, I see the iPad like a machine between your smartphone and a laptop. Like, it is more than a phone, but still less than a laptop. So it is perfect for specific scenarios, like to watch movies, sketch and draw, like the best for sketching in my opinion, reading books, or if you have other Apple products like an iPhone or a MacBook, then the iPad becomes a really good addition in the ecosystem. We have already done a video on the Apple ecosystem. If you want, you can check that out from here or here. But if you're a first-time buyer, then get a laptop or a MacBook over an iPad. I still believe MacBook is the best value for money Apple product you can get, because a lot of things just don't work well on the iPad or any tablet in general. I hope this video was helpful to you. Let us know in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Pradeep signing off. Pew, pew, pew.